I have the honor and the pleasure to welcome to the next session here at the Prague Media Point. We start with organized disinformation in Poland. But let me first say that this entire group of the coming 3 speakers is organized in a partnership with the International Visegrad Fund. And on the household rules, so the practicalities, you will see at the bottom of the screen a Q&A option. I will keep an eye on the Q&A so participants can ask questions as we go. And welcome warmly to Anna Gielewska. Anna is a journalist. She is based in Warsaw. She's also the vice chairman of the Reporters Foundation, which is the first organization supporting investigative journalism in Poland. And I've had the honor of visiting you once and speaking in Warsaw about cross-border collaborative journalism, surprise. What is interesting here now, as you are going to speak about organized disinformation, is that you have spent an entire year as a fellow at Stanford University in the US to deal with exactly this question of organized disinformation, of propaganda, which is such a major topic these years, which I think we cannot even take seriously enough. Over to you, Anna. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone, and hello Brigitte. Great to see you. I would prefer, to see in person, of course, but thank you for this kind introduction. And let me try to turn on my presentation right now. So I hope it will work. Yeah, just a second. Okay, is it working? That's perfect. So I wonder if you guys like to play a whack-a-mole game. This is a game where you have to hit the mole jumping out, and you never know in which hole he will show up again. Even if you are very focused and have your hammer, the mole is often quicker and comes out from an unexpected hole. And this is exactly how I feel when I think about investigating disinformation. Usually, when we think about it, we have in mind some manipulative narrative spread by politicians or conspiracy theories circulating on social media. We might think of fake news, debunking, fact-checking, but less often we analyze information disorder as a result of organized operation run by powerful actors and groups, not only politicians. There is a growing branch of business that is disinformation for hire, which is an effective tool used by PR companies and lobbyists. This is our recent story published by my colleagues from Reporters Foundation, which shows a part of this word. In short, it describes a disinformation campaign to benefit customers of one PR company run by this guy who is a former spokesperson of the Law and Justice. This is a ruling party in Poland right now. And one of his company's clients was Coca-Cola, which would be affected by the sugar tax announced by the government. And my colleagues, Wojciech Cieśla and Konrad Szczygieł, revealed that a facade association was launched in southern Poland by local fitness experts who had been first trained by this company, Warsaw PR company called R4S. Then this association started running a website called Hidden Sweetness, The website at first glimpse resembles a spontaneous health promoting activity, and it delivers a simple message. After all, sugar is harmless. Ketchup and bread all contain sugar, and insufficient sugar consumption leads to dangerous disease. That was a message from this website. And then there is a troll farm operating on Polish Twitter. And when the sugar tax became a hot topic in Poland in early 2020, the farm began an operation generating hundreds of posts to undermine the idea of sugar tax. The farm was promoting the website, which we already know, the Hidden Sweetness, sharing comments and posts. They all contained this similar message that sugar-sweetened beverages are not the only products that contain a lot of sugar, because sugar is everywhere. So, you know, if it's everywhere, why should soft drinks be additionally taxed? And how my colleagues, how our journalists worked on this story. So what I can say is that each such investigation has two legs. One is an online social media analysis, and the second one is traditional journalistic research. In this particular case, my colleagues have examined these fake accounts and profiles. Then they did a content analysis to find the narratives and the topics that the troll farm was spreading. And this is how it turned out that these topics perfectly correspond with the clients of this company, R4S. So then the journalists use traditional methods, which are well known, like analyzing data from the registers, field reporting, asking questions, and then confrontation. And I think that this combination, these both legs, combining these both legs brings the best results in investigating disinformation. So from one side we have tools, and from the other we have like our own well-known sources and techniques to confront information. So let's take a quick look at the farm. It was not very sophisticated. Someone created, as we could see here, someone created false identities using photos. It turned out they were stolen from Russian language social media, and including accounts used by some models and Instagram celebrities. These accounts pretended to be real Polish users, but operated under fictitious names and surnames. So to cover up the scam, the images used by fake accounts were slightly modified. For example, some trolls changed some colors or used the mirror image. But all these accounts posted the same message. They attacked opinion leaders and other Twitter users. Our journalists in this case use, quite simple verification tools like reverse image search and Yandex for photo verification, then Botometer, Tweetbeaver, Tweetonomy. These are like popular tools. Botometer shows and checks the activity of accounts, and it can give us a score based on how likely they are bots. And Tweetbeaver, for example, gives information specific groups of the accounts, so we can get the sense of what we are dealing with. Is it an organized group on Twitter, organized group of accounts? So it was pretty simple to find out using simple verification tools. But then the whole traditional process of verifying all the information and field reporting started. And of course, before the publication, our journalists got some legal threats from the company representatives. This is how it very often looks in Poland, especially recently, that even before publications, just after asking questions, sending questions by email, we get legal threats and threats of lawsuit. That was the case here as well. But the story was published, of course, and it had some impact in Poland. After the publication, Coca-Cola announced terminating cooperation with this company. And then the PR association ceased its memberships. Also, there were some groups of internet users that have found some new misinformative materials related to the story. So this is like still alive, and this impact is still ongoing, I would say. So that was the most recent farm that we discovered, but not the biggest one that we revealed. Last year, our reporter went undercover to work at another troll farm that was operating at the backstage of Polish business and politics. It was an unknown company in the city of Wrocław, the company called catnip. And as it turned out, it was hiring disabled people to work as internet trolls and to run disinformation campaigns on social media. They were sending messages and moderate conversation using hundreds of fictitious accounts, both right-wing and left-wing. They worked for Poland's public, or maybe better, propaganda television, and for the arms industry. They also ran a campaign supporting a left party politician. So like broad scope of activities. That investigation, in cooperation with the Investigative Europe team, had an international impact, and the story became a part of the discussion on generally on disinformation for hire. So disinformation happening at the intersection of business and PR or lobbying companies. It was quoted by The Guardian, BuzzFeed, among others. And today, we already know that such custom-tailored disinformation campaigns are carefully hidden part of the business activities of some companies in the PR sector. A few months ago, there was a BuzzFeed report published on this topic, and as it was stated, there is now a worldwide industry of PR and marketing firms ready to deploy fake accounts, false narratives, and pseudo-news websites for the right price. And around the globe, politicians, parties, governments, and other clients hire what is black PR firms to spread lies and manipulate online discourse. That was a quote from this report. And as we see with our examples, such campaigns can be run even by really simple troll farms, but also complex operations on a large scale are offered by the companies that already collected data from social networking users, like we could learn from the Cambridge Analytica scandal revealed by an investigative journalist, Carol Cadwallard from The Observer. And we obviously wouldn't know anything about it if not her amazing work, investigative work. And so in terms of the catnip story, if we take a look behind. So that particular story began with a little piece of news saying that the agents of Poland's Central Anti-Corruption Bureau entered an office of the company in Wrocław, and that probe was said to be linked to the detention of an assistant to Poland's former Minister of Defense, Antoni Macierewicz, who is quite well-known figure in Polish politics. And that assistant was charged for his allegedly illegal conduct within the Polish armament group. So we only had this little piece of news, and we have never heard about this company before. So we started researching this company, asking sources, and doing some research around in the register, and that is how we learned that from the sources that it might be a troll farm hiring disabled people to get subsidies from the public fund. And then it took next weeks or months, and we found out there is the job application by this company. So our reporter went undercover to work there as a troll on that farm. And that is how we verified our hints, and it turned out to be more than true. And simultaneously, the team, our team was doing online investigations. So we cooperated with ISD, a think tank, which is researching disinformation, to analyze data from social media. That is how we got some new hints, new angles. And again, we combined it with some field reporting, sent FYI to examine this public subsidies part that we were able to confirm. And yeah, and then we published this story that had a nice impact. That is another story where we found out that the QAnon, a conspiracy network that you probably might have heard about, is also active in Poland and in other Visegrad countries. So they were pages and accounts that we were monitoring, and we realized they were spreading these conspiracy theories. They were supporting Trump, denying the pandemic. And I found some links between these groups and anti-vaxxers and anti-far rights in Poland. And it turned out they were, organizing some demonstrations against the pandemic restrictions in many cities, including Warsaw. They were organizing buses and, people to go and demonstrate. So after all this investigation, I think like the key to investigating such online activities is to understand how the networks of disinformation are organized, to be able to kind of, imagine this whole organized, coordinated activity. Here is a beautiful map by Grafika showing QAnon, which has been the biggest conspiracy network so far discovered, actually. So the researchers analyzed it, and then they were able to show it in such a nice way. We can see the clusters between QAnon accounts, Trump supporters, the accounts spreading pandemic-related disinformation. And this is how such network, or here like some network of networks, I would say, can look like. So and when I was monitoring disinformation before elections in Poland, together with Stanford Internet Observatory researchers, we mapped a number of organized networks in the Polish cyberspace on Polish Facebook. So we were monitoring their activities like coordinated posting, amplification. Here are some examples of our findings, like this anti-European Union graphic that was shared across pages supporting the ruling party in a coordinated way. And that was to show that the Polish government handles pandemic pretty well, and the European Union in opposite can't, like, struggles with handling the pandemic. So yeah, so this is how it looks like on Facebook. We use usually CrowdTangle, which was enough to find out this this kind of activities and networks. And so here is how we can imagine Polish cyberspace in terms of disinformation actors operating here. So we definitely have some foreign state related activities, Russia, China, Iran operations. We have, of course, domestic politicians and the propaganda media that spread loads of massive disinformation campaigns. And then we have also this business and PR actors who try to change what we think, what online users think about certain issues and problems to benefit their clients. And this is what it all together causes, increasing chaos and polarization of society and the crisis of trust and truth, as disinformation is an effective tool used by powerful players to take control, to grab power. And I think that journalists, investigative journalism, definitely can research it more effectively as they gain new expertise, as they learn new tools. Now, I would say social media platforms remind the space taken over by, organized crime groups, actually. So to better deal with investigating organized crime and corruption, journalists years ago had to develop their understanding of business files, international financial operations. And I think now alike, we need to develop our understanding of the backstage of the disinformation industry and learn new methods, new tools, and then, apply our kind of cross-border investigative mindset to uncover the links and some key actors. And if we think how to do it, well, first, definitely by learning new tools and their capabilities. The tools are amazing now. We just need to learn them. And there is always a question like, what I need to find and how can I do it, and who knows the tool. So it's not like everyone needs to know all the tools, definitely. And this is where also comes this cross-border cooperative mindset, I would say, because one of the key to success cross-border stories, international cooperation. In the case of disinformation, I would think especially, well, cross-border cooperation as well, but I would think especially about cross-sector cooperation. So cooperating, especially with academic researchers experienced in monitoring disinformation operations in the long term, who can help us with understanding the extensive data sets behind and so on, might bring amazing results. And what I mean here is like quite a new approach to such cooperation, not just asking them for comments, but by really launching cross-sector partnerships and teams to monitor it in the long-term perspective. And finally, we can successfully apply our investigative set of questions, very well known, like what are the links, what are the money transfers, and who is behind, because at the end, there are still always real actors behind disinformation networks who usually make some profit. And I said still, because obviously there are some new challenges in front of us as the disinformation industry is rapidly evolving space. So we need to constantly learn and chase these new tactics and techniques. One of the biggest challenges right now for people who are trying to investigate disinformation and disinformation networks is all of this, what is happening in the closed groups and messaging apps like WhatsApp, Messenger, Telegram, Viber, Discord, even Nextdoor, that is a popular neighbor app in the US, for example, for sharing furniture, and that is and that was the place where also some manipulative content was spread, especially during the Black Lives Matter protests in the US. So this kind of manipulative content remains often unnoticed, especially when it targets local communities, and that is what we could see during the protests and in the last campaign before the presidential elections in the US. But there are also new challenges, like another challenges like deep fake technology that is evolving, and we still don't know what can happen in what moments, how when it will be so perfect that it might be almost unrecognizable. And of course, HI development. You might have seen this story already that was written entirely by AI content generator. And we can, I think, easily imagine the potential threats of such technology. But there are also opportunities like AI empowered investigations that allow finding information in enormous data sets and files, like browsing them and so on. Still, again, they need to use it. We need to learn how to make use of AI in investigative journalism, but that is a whole different story. Anyway, organized disinformation is definitely a space where investigative journalism can bring more to the table. I'm pretty much sure about it. So so even if I sometimes feel like this when dealing with disinformation, for sure it's never boring, and a lot of work always keeps me motivated. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer any questions from you, Brigitte, or from the audience.
Thank you, Anna. This was very, very interesting. It sounds like there is a lot of work to do for many of us. We don't have any questions in the Q&A here yet, but I have questions to you. And one of them concerns how much time do you need? I mean, this is like a whole journalistic specialization, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I now especially after this last year that I spent at Stanford, mostly focusing on this issue. That is what I think. This is a new specialization, and this is definitely like a new space that can be tackled from different perspectives. So we obviously have tech reporters that are doing great jobs in many different outlets, but I see this intersection of of investigative approach and investigations that and and disinformation that is being researched, let's say, in a way that academic researchers do it. as a kind of a platform for cooperation, and it's much closer. Like, I mean, what I realized that spending time with amazing Stanford researcher, their job is sometimes closer to our investigative, job than just traditional understood, media coverage of some events. So I believe there is a lot to learn from each other, and there is a lot to do in terms of cooperation to get this amazing results, because this is I think this is fascinating space to investigate, and it's still not investigated enough. We still don't know enough about who is really behind. Like, we know about fake news. We know fact checking is very helpful and so much needed, and we have learned already a lot. I mean, we did a good job. We did a good job as journalists on realizing the importance of fact checking, but this is something more. And for example, like there are already some examples, of great cooperation and great results, like CNN story on Ghana, on a troll farm in Ghana, made thanks to cooperation with one of the US universities. So yeah, but this is a new field, and it's great that we are not, retiring, but trying to find out some new spaces, I think.
So we can, with Anna and her colleagues working in that field, we can say welcome to a new group of pioneers in a new aspect of journalism. And with that, I would like to wrap up for you, and thank you so much, Anna. This was hugely inspiring. You opened these back workshops that we usually don't see. Thank you so much. And
Thank you very much.